Hello, my name is Taylor Ross. I'm an Aximmetry ambassador and the owner of Frustum Virtual in Los Angeles, California. In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to set up your Unreal project for tracked camera green screen live compositing. First thing we need to do is open the Unreal editor for Aximmetry. I have mine on my desktop. I'm just going to go ahead and double click on this to open it. Now you'll see the Unreal project browser. This is where you'll be able to open any project that you've created in Unreal Engine 5.3. I have a custom project that I've created for this tutorial called Aximmetry5.3. I'll just go ahead and select that. This Aximmetry5.3 was created in the vanilla version of Unreal Engine from Epic Games. Once you've selected your custom project, you can just select Open. This will show me a new pop-up called Convert Project. This is just telling me that the project was created in a different version of Unreal Engine. In order to make sure that I'm not doing anything destructive to my original project file, it will ask me to open a copy. This copy will be created in the same location as the original project file, but with a 5.3 at the end. I will just select Open a Copy. Now Unreal Editor for Aximmetry is creating a copy and opening that project file. Now that Unreal Editor for Aximmetry has loaded my custom project, you will see that my custom project has a little bit different layout than the standard UE5 layout. In order to get your layout to look like mine, you navigate to Window, Load Layout, UE4 Classic Layout. By default, you have your content drawer. I like to have my content browser docked, so I'll go back to Window, Content Browser. I'll grab the content browser and dock it here. Now that my layout is set up the way that I like it, we need to change a few project settings, so we'll navigate to Edit in the upper left-hand corner and select Project Settings. On the left-hand side of our project settings, we'll select Maps and Modes. We need to set our default maps to the maps that we would like to load in Aximmetry DE. The Editor Startup map and Game Default map both need to be set to the map that I'm currently working on. My map is just called Main. My Editor Startup map is already set to Main, so I will only need to change my Game Default map. I will just search for Main and select it. Just make sure that your default maps are set to the maps that you'd like to load in Aximmetry DE Composer. After our default maps are set up, we need to set up the default mode. We need to make sure that our default pawn class is set to none. In order to do this, we need to create a new game mode. Find the default game mode on the left-hand side. Right now, my default game mode is set to Game Mode Base. I'll select this plus sign to create a new game mode. Now we'll give this game mode a name. I'll call mine Aximmetry Mode. Once this new game mode has a name, I'll just select Save. Now we can change our default pawn class to none. With our new default game mode set, we need to change a few other settings. In the search at the top, I will type in stencil. For the custom depth stencil pass, I will change this to enabled with stencil. Now back in the search bar, I will type in planar. Make sure that support global clip plane for planar reflections is turned on. Once we change this setting, you will see a pop-up in the lower right-hand corner. Restart required to apply new settings. Before I restart the engine, there's one more setting that I like to change. On the left-hand side, I'll navigate to Packaging. Then I'll scroll down to Advanced, and I'll find List of Maps to include in Package Build. We will create a new array by selecting this little plus symbol. Now in this Index 0 property, we will select these three dots. This will allow us to choose a file from this computer. In my Unreal projects, I will find my Aximmetry Tracked Camera 01 with the 5.3 at the end. I will open this folder. Now I'll navigate to the content folder. My map is currently located on this first level of the content folder, but if your map is a little bit deeper, you'll just need to find it. Once you have your map selected, you can just select Open. By setting up this packaging setting, it will just save on the cook time. So if you have a bunch of levels in your project and you don't want to cook everything because that will take a long time, you can just specify which map to build. Now that all of my project settings are set up correctly, I will go ahead and close the project settings. In the lower right-hand corner, I will select Restart Now. Go ahead and save everything if you haven't saved it already. Now Unreal Engine will restart. Because we changed the planar reflection settings, it will need to rebuild all of the textures for our levels. This process could take a little bit of time depending on how big your project is. Now that we're back in our Unreal Editor, we need to make a few changes to our custom project. Find the player start. The player start will render as a sphere in Aximmetry DE Composer. In order to avoid any issues that you will have in Aximmetry DE Composer, I usually just delete this player start, but you can also just move it out of the view of what the camera will see. We don't need this player start, so I'll just delete it. Now at the top, we'll navigate to Aximmetry. Add camera. I'm going to add the green camera tracked 1 through 3 billboards. In a separate tutorial, I covered the process of adding a green camera virtual plus tracked. This is to use a mixed camera in Aximmetry DE. For this tutorial, we will only be using the tracked camera, so I'll just select this. Once this green camera tracked is added to our project, you will see that it is placed at the 0 point of our level. It's important to take note of where this camera is placed and which direction it is looking. When we open this project in Aximmetry DE Composer, you will see that this is where we will actually start. So if you move this camera, it will not affect the position that you start in Aximmetry DE Composer. You will always start at the world 0 of your level, regardless of the placement of this camera. If you are using pre-built assets from the Unreal Engine Marketplace, you can do this using the transform properties in Aximmetry DE Composer. If you are building a custom project from scratch, I recommend building from the 0 point because you will always start here when you open Aximmetry DE Composer. Just remember that even if I move my camera all the way over here, I will not start here when I open Aximmetry DE Composer. I will always start at world 0, so take note of this position. This is a relatively simple project that I've created. I haven't really changed anything in this project other than adding this color calibrator. Most of the projects that you will find on the Unreal Engine Marketplace do not start at world 0, or they were not built with this in mind. So you may need to readjust the position of all of the assets to be closer to your world 0, or just take note of where this camera starts so that you can use the transform values in Aximmetry DE to get to the location that you'd like to shoot in. Finally, I'll navigate to the Aximmetry tab, and then I'll select Cook Content for Aximmetry DE. In the lower right-hand corner, you will see Cooking Content for Windows. You can select Show Output Log. This will allow you to see what's happening during the cooking process. I've docked my output log down here at the bottom. If you'd like to do this, just come up to Windows, Output Log. The first cook of any project will always be the longest. This is because it's going through the project and packaging everything for Aximmetry DE Composer. When we changed the packaging project settings, this was to save time on this process. If you ever have to come back to Unreal Editor for Aximmetry and make changes, you'll see that any cook after this first cook is a little bit faster. Just keep in mind that depending on the size of the project that you are trying to cook, this process could take quite a long time. I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward through this process. Once the cooking process completes, you will see Cooking Completed at the bottom of the output log. If you get a message that says Build Failed rather than Cooking Completed, you will be able to go through your output log and find the red error messages. This will give you an idea of what might be going wrong during the cooking process, and you can address it. Since my build was successful and I got a Cooking Completed message, I have my Aximmetry tracked camera placed. I can go ahead and save this project. I can select Save All in the bottom right-hand corner, or I can come up to File, Save All, or Control-Shift-S on my keyboard. With everything saved, I can close Unreal Editor for Aximmetry. In the next tutorial, I will show you how to bring this Unreal project into Aximmetry DE Composer. In that tutorial, I will be covering the entire process of setting up your studio. Hopefully this video was helpful in showing you how to set up your custom Unreal project for a tracked camera green screen shoot. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos, and thanks for watching.